media, trying to make this thing work and make it a better place for each and every one of us. You're listening to the Power Hour. We are here Monday through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to bring you the latest in news, happenings around Philadelphia, and of course, our opinion. And we have plenty of them. Plenty of opinions to share with you. I am Bishop Dwayne Royster, one of the co-hosts here on the program, and sitting in today for the vacationing Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler is Tawanda Stallworth. Tawanda, how you doing?
Good morning, Bishop. I'm doing well.
Awesome.
Doing well. Thanks for asking.
I know it's early in the morning. I came down today, and it was still kind of dark out, and I'm like, for the summer months, I've been coming down. It was like sun out. It was bright. And today I was like, oh, it's getting dark again.
Yeah, you're back to that again.
Yeah. That's a little rough. So thank you, Tawanda, for being here and sitting in for Dr. Tyler. We appreciate you. You're going to be guest hosting with us off and on for the next couple of weeks, and appreciate that. And the person that keeps it all together, that makes sure that we're on the air, that we're on Facebook, that we're on YouTube, that we're on Twitch, that we're on the app. The person that makes sure that you can hear us each and every morning, early in the morning, who makes her way, fighting the trucks to get across the bridge to get to the studio, is Koisa. Koisa, how are you this morning?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing good, thanks. Doing good. How was your encounter with the trucks today?
Yeah, I got stuck behind a trash truck today. That was fun. I took an alternate route, though, so that I could get around it, because it was going like 20 miles per hour. I'm like, no, we're not doing this morning.
Do you ride on one-way, one lane streets?
They're one-lane streets, yes. So like my route, I usually take Richmond Street, I guess, yeah. And so it's like one road. Like one lane, excuse me, like all the way down. I'm just like, oh.
Wait a minute. This was in Philly. You got this.
Yes, yeah. So,
so the Philly was actually picking up trash.
I know, right?
That was been the thing for the longest time. Like we're behind.
But you know what? I will say it made no stops. It was just going slow. So I don't know what the destination was, but at least when I was behind it, it wasn't actually picking up any trash. So maybe Philly's not picking up trash. But yeah, so that wasn't too bad. But yeah, I took an alternate route, so then that way, because I probably would still be behind that truck if I, hadn't have done that. And the weather right now, it's a little muggy. Like it's comfortable. It's not like sweating hot, kind of like, but it's warm. It's a summer morning. Yeah, but you're right about the darkness, though.
Yeah, I came down the steps and I was like, man, it's like dark.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for that today. I don't know what I thought yesterday, but I was like, whoa.
Yeah, it's pretty dark out there. So I don't know if we're starting to experience, summer leaving us quicker than normal, or if it's just because it's cloudy. I have no idea. But
I think it's because it's cloudy. That's what.
Oh, is that what it is? It's cloudy out? Because I'm like, man, it's really dark. Okay. And I'm like, I don't remember being this dark yesterday. But okay, maybe that's just me. So, well, that's cool. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And thank you for everything that you do every day here on the station.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. So I have to start with something kind of funny. So, there's a lot of serious news to talk about, and we're going to get to all of that in a minute. But so, early, for some reason, I woke up extremely early this morning, and I couldn't go back to sleep. So I was on Facebook. Not exactly, if you need to go back to sleep, do you look at Facebook? Because you can actually go down the Facebook wormhole. And while we're talking about that right now, if you're watching us via Facebook, would you just hit the share button and let folk know that you were out here? As a matter of fact, I'm going to go do that right now, so that I can let other people in on our little secret, which shouldn't be a secret, which is the Power Hour. As a matter of fact, I always share it not only to my page, but I also have a couple groups that I belong to. And so I share it in those spaces so people can watch along with us as well. All right, so here's the thing. So I was in the I was in the Facebook rabbit hole this morning, and I ran across, and just shout out to the Reverend Kendall Brown, and just in case he happens to be watching. And Kendall used to be the missions director at Lancaster Theological Seminary years ago. I don't know if you knew him, Tawanda, or not. But there's this post on here that says, "How Southern are you?" And you saw this, and you get a point for every food you've ever tried. Now, I just want to say that my family goes back 5 generations deep in Philadelphia. Okay, like originally folk are from Virginia, but now, it's like, so there's my grandson, and then there's my daughter, right? So that's 2 generations. I'm the 3rd generation back. My parents are the 4th generation. My grandparents are the 5th generation, and my great grandparents are the 6th generation. So 6 generations back in Philadelphia. So I went through this list, and I really don't know if this is really a Southern list as much as this is a Black list. Okay, because I mean, not all Blacks are Southerns, but okay. So I think it was only like 3 things on here or 4 things I've never eaten in my life.
Okay, I was gonna say only 4 that you have eaten.
No. It's like only 4 things I haven't eaten. So it says peach cobbler, sweet tea, chicken and dumplings, cornbread gumbo, frog's legs, chicken fried steak, hush puppies, white gravy, grits, oyster salad, congealed salad. Now, I've never had congealed salad. I have no idea what that is. And by the name, sound of it, I don't think I want it, unless it's Jell-O. I mean, like, you have had Jell-O with like fruit in it and stuff like that.
Yeah, but that's not this.
That's not what that is. Okay.
I don't think so. I think it's what it said. I think it. Yep.
Yeah, no, I never had that. Okay. So then there's pickled pig feed, red eye gravy, chess pie. I don't know what chess pie is, y'all. Somebody will have to explain that to me. Turnip greens, hoppin' john, chicken livers, tomato sandwich, rabbit stew, red beans and rice, Brunswick stew, corn pudding, fatback fried bologna. I don't know that I've ever. Oh no, actually, I have had rabbit stew, so I can't say that. Of course, it wasn't in a Southern restaurant that I had that. It was actually up north someplace. All right, then fried okra, boiled peanuts, chitlins. I love chitlins. Just so people know that. I know people gonna be like, "Oh my God, you eat chitlins?" Yes, I eat chitlins. I eat chitlins, pig feet, all that stuff. Yes, absolutely, love it, love it. I only eat it once a year because man, that'll really clog up your arteries, but it's very good. Pear salad, butter beans, jambalaya, deviled eggs, poor boys, fried gizzards, Coca-Cola cake. I've never had a Coca-Cola cake. I don't know what that is.
Me neither. It sounds good though.
Gator tail. Can't say. Oh no. I had gator tail when I was down in Florida. Let me stop there. Poke salad. Never had that. And ambrosia. I don't like ambrosia, but I've had ambrosia when I was a kid. Like that was like everybody made that when you went to the barbecues back in the day. They don't make it anymore. Thank God. It was terrible. But people used to make ambrosia all the time. So I had like 2 or 3 things on the list that were not on there, right? But I am a northerner. I am, or mid-Atlanticer, I guess, I'm more, live in the mid-Atlantic region. So anyway, I don't know how other folk turned out on this list, but thank you, Reverend Kendall Brown, for posting this. And he got this from Kristen Lawrence, and they were, putting this all together. But I thought this was really intriguing, and I wanted to start our day in conversation about food, because, I'm obsessed with food most days. So, this is a thing. So this was very intriguing. I don't know. What does that list sound like to you, Tawanda?
So I'm reminded that there is a viewer who will remind us that Philadelphians are actually all South Carolinian transplants.
So we're not from South Carolina. I just want to say that.
So the thought that these are Southern foods, I think there's that argument. But I grew up with family that's from Mississippi, so I actually have eaten most of the things on that list. So I'm probably not a real Northerner because I have some Southern connections. But yeah, I'm a foodie like you, so I enjoy good food, and if it sounds good and I haven't eaten it yet, I'll want to try it.
Yes.
I want to try it. I'll try most things at least once, unless it's I don't eat beef or pork products, so I don't eat steak or hot dogs or ham or chitlins or pig's feet.
You don't eat chitlins or pig feet. Lord have mercy.
No. I don't eat bacon,
really?
but anything like That Coca-Cola cake sounds good. I might look for that recipe. I imagine it's along the lines of a 7-Up cake.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I imagine that's what it is too. I don't know. I don't know what it is. So I've never. Anybody listening, if you know what Coca-Cola cake is, because somebody just text us or hit us up with a DM. And shucks, you know what? Look, we're gonna open the phone lines on this one. If you know what a Coca-Cola cake is, call us 215-634-8065. Now we're gonna talk about a lot of other stuff today too. But I'm curious. I actually don't know what a Coca-Cola cake is. So I would love to learn more about it. So.
I would actually like to taste it. So if someone could make one.
My man Tony Freeman's like giving a thumbs down on Facebook to ambrosia. I'm like, dude, you and me both. I do not do ambrosia by any means. Bishop Dr. Peggy Kendrick said, not all our folk are South Carolinians. My folk are from Florida. They're Floridians. And Kenesha Chatham said, my people are from Mississippi. Yeah, like I said, my people are from Virginia. Although Virginia wasn't the Deep South, when you talk to some of them, you think it is the Deep South.
Depending on what part of Virginia you're in, you'll think you're actually in Mississippi.
Well, they were in the Tidewater, so down in Williamsburg area, down in Newport News, that whole Jamestown, that whole region down there. So, some of them have very thick Southern accents. And I used to always be like, when I was a kid, like, how come I can't have an accent like theirs? Because you're from the North, and you sound different.
Apparently, we have an accent too.
Philip, why? Actually curious. I'm curious because you're not from the eastern part of the state, right? You're more central part of the state.
Right.
And so Philadelphians I'm told, have a very distinct accent. And I'm curious if you can hear it when you are dialoguing with us.
I do. I can hear
it. What does it sound like?
I can't really, it depends on what words are being said. There's sometimes that, I think water is one of them.
Yeah, well, a lot of people say water.
Yeah, so there's
water, they say water. Yes.
Yeah, so there's certain words where it comes out. What's really interesting is sometimes I'll hear Dr. Tyler say something, and I'm like, you're not from Philly, but you sound like it in that moment. But yeah, I pick up on it every once in a while. It's nice.
So let me just say that, food for me in the Black community is Black joy. And, in the midst of everything else that we got going on, the one place that we've often been able to find solace, healing, and community is around a table. And so, I mean, part of that was part of what was getting me this morning, I think, as I was reading this, and just thinking about all the times when folk got together, right? My mother, I remember one summer, my mother bought a bushel of crabs every weekend. And on Saturday, all of her friends and their children would come over our house, and we'd all eat crabs. And we did it for like 2 months straight. This was one summer. It was crabs and seafood, and it was people running in the house, kids running all over the place. And that are some of my fondest memories, of that. Or, New Year's Day when my mother makes chitlins, pig feet, all, pork is supposed to be good luck for the new year, or, all those other things.
Oh, maybe that's my problem. Got it.
It's all good. It's all good.
But that is joy as resistance.
It is. It is.
When we come around the table, for sure. I think about Thanksgiving time and cookout time and, all of that, making your plate. And we talk about how we, what do you put next to each other? What foods can touch? What foods can't touch? Like, these are real.
Black folk got some serious hang-ups. So let me just say
that. Yeah. Like macaroni and cheese. Is that better with candied yams, or is it better with baked beans? There's which way does that go? I've recently discovered the joy of allowing my potato salad and my collard greens to touch and hang out a little bit in the middle. Yeah, it's what we do. That's our definitely some Black joy needed right now.
It is. And let me just say this. So a couple things. First of all, Where did I see Will make his comment here? Will said that Philadelphians sound like sexy thugs. I'm like, okay, Will, thanks. Uh, and then
I
Deborah
thought Will was
Larley
from Philly.
Robinson said, Googled it. This is why it's called Coca-Cola cake. Long story short, Coke was trying to get their products into more sweets and not savory dishes. So the owners of Cracker Barrel, when it first opened, used the Coke as a cooking product and came up with this chocolate cake. That's why it was called the Coca-Cola cake. And Karen Gold said Philadelphians have a proper American English accent. And Deacon Malika Wall says no to the frog legs. And then she said mac and cheese goes with anything. And I'm like, I don't even eat mac and cheese. So, but I eat Deacon. I
You
eat
don't?
No. Do not eat macaroni and cheese. I don't like cheese. So that's the thing.
Well, but mac and cheese is that's not really cheese. That's baked holiness.
Oh Lord. Okay, we got to go to break. and we are overdue, and I don't want Kwesa to get start yelling at me about going to break because she starts sending very impassioned texts like, "Go to break now! Go to break now!" So you're listening to the Power Hour on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. We'll be right back.
Comcast is committing $1 billion to reach 50 million low-income Americans with the tools and resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education. In Philly, COVID-19 vaccines are safe, free, and effective. It protects you from contracting the COVID-19 virus. Vaccines do not change your DNA or contain microchips. Caribbean people are not immune to the deadly virus without COVID-19 vaccine shots, and it does not affect your immigration status. Join us for our back-to-school COVID-19 vaccination resource fair on Saturday, August 21st from 11 to 3 p.m. at Sturgis Recreation Center in Alany. Free food, school supplies, and vaccines. Visit www.caribbeancommunityinphiladelphia.com, Facebook or Instagram page.
The Black Words Book Club. WURD Radio's conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The Black Words book for September is Race Against Time, The Politics of a Darkening America by Keith Boykin. Be sure to listen live as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it. Tuesday, September 14th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention 4WURD members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color.
Hi, I'm Sarah Lomax Reese, President and CEO of WURD. We're gearing up for our annual Founders Day celebration honoring the life and legacy of my dad, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD. He was a man of many talents, a physician, entrepreneur, philanthropist, the founder of WURD, and most importantly to me, a great father. This year on Wednesday, August 25th from 5 to 6 p.m., the evening before our Founders Day celebration and street naming ceremony honoring my dad, we'll be hosting a virtual members-only conversation with the Lomax family. That's right. Me, my mom, and my brothers and sisters will gather to reflect on our father's amazing career and life. So 4WURD members, come hang out with me and my family on Wednesday, August 25th. RSVP today because space is limited. Go to wordradio.com and click on the Founders Day member-only event banner or call 215-425-7875. We hope to see you there.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour on WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. This is Dwayne Royster along with special guest co-host Wanda Stallworth. And I have to shout out super producer Kwesa, who is giving me a hard time right now on text, as well as Tawanda. Both of them are going back and forth, giving me grief about the fact that I don't eat cheese. And, you know, actually some of the listeners are actually asking questions about why I don't eat cheese, I don't eat pizza, you know, do whatever. Okay, let me explain a couple things to you. I'm getting ready to give y'all some very interesting information. Um, and so this is probably TMI. Okay. I am lactose intolerant. Okay. So I do eat pizza and I do eat cheesesteaks and I do eat hamburgers. I only eat American cheese. And when I do, I need to know where I am when I'm eating these things. So that's why I don't eat cheese. And then besides the fact, I don't like the taste of it. Tawanda was like, well, do you eat feta? No, I don't eat feta. I don't eat anything. I eat mozzarella on pizza and American cheese on everything else, and I don't eat any other cheese. I don't like it, don't like the taste of it. I don't like the texture of it. That's not my thing. Matter of fact, when I was growing up, my mother used to make grilled ham sandwiches for me. So I didn't have grilled cheese because I didn't like the cheese. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. And I know some people are threatening to revoke my black card. Y'all can't take my black card. It's not up. It's not an option. I have a reason why I don't eat cheese. Thank you very much.
I think for me it's just I start to look at people differently that do not eat macaroni and cheese. I mean, that's a staple.
I don't eat sweet potatoes either.
Okay, that's it. That's it. Like, I think your black card is up for review, and we will be impaneling the commission as soon as we get off of here, because you can't not eat those. What do you have at Thanksgiving? Just turkey?
No, you got turkey, you got ham, you got greens, you got green beans, you got rolls. You have all kinds of duck. I eat duck. Oh my God, I love duck. Yeah, I mean, I got all kinds of stuff. I just don't eat. I don't eat macaroni and cheese, and I don't eat. Sweet potatoes. My mother makes sweet potato pudding. I don't eat that.
Well, what did the sweet potatoes do? Because there's no cheese in that.
I don't like the taste of it. Just like I don't eat mashed potatoes either.
Well, they can come or go like that.
There you go.
Yeah. What about, okay, do you eat stuffing or dressing?
Stuffing. My father stuffed the bird, or stuffed the bird in years past. Now I have to stuff the bird.
Is it cornbread stuffing or is it the cubes?
My wife makes the cornbread stuffing, and then we have the cubes for the turkey. So we have two stuffings at dinner because she makes the cornbread stuffing with sausage and everything. All right, y'all making me hungry. It's too early to eat. It's too early to eat. Hey, look, listen, everybody. Join WURD for the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour. This year, we celebrate West Oak Lane, Mantua, Northwest, and South Philadelphia. Tiffany Bacon will broadcast live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Our next stop is West Oak Lane at the West Oak Lane Senior Center, 7210 Ogons Avenue. Win concert tickets, meet special guests, and stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the Black community. Show your support and join or renew your WURD membership on site. That's the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour at West Oak Lane Senior Center from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Friday, August 20th. So go out and check out Tiffany Bacon. She's going to be out there live. Go out there and sign up for your WURD membership. Get connected with other people that care deeply about the city of Philadelphia and about the many things that are happening all across the Black community. That's really exciting. All right. So Joanne Kemp says on YouTube, spicy vegan cheese is delicious. No, I'm good with that. Thanks. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Catfish Hillbilly said, I've eaten my way through most of the list. The Catfish also says, I don't like ambrosia. I got you. And then Nikki O'Tim. Now you talk about pulling the black card. Nikki O'Tim says, I've never heard of many things on that list. I'm born and raised in New Jersey. I'm like, okay. So, I'm like, that's
heard of them.
Never heard of them. Never heard of them. So,
I think the Black Card Commission is going to be quite busy as a result of this list.
I think for me, I'm like, if you don't eat chitlins and pig feet, I think I have a question about, your status. Now, I've often said that Pennsylvania is the northernmost southern state in America, even more southern than Maryland is, and, a D.C. area. But because I should say Philadelphia has got some real southern tendencies, But,
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yes, Robert Brown, my wife still makes mac and cheese. She makes it for herself and my daughters, but I do not eat it. I just, I eat something else. Lactose intolerant, try Ripple milk substitute beverages. Ripple milk sounds like a drink. Like, let's go get some Ripple. You go get Ripple milk. And chocolate is my favorite. That's what Karen Gold says. Actually, I do almond milk. So I have that in cereal and stuff like that. So,
yeah,
absolutely. All right. Look, y'all, there's a lot going on in the world. You know, one of the things that was disturbing me this morning when I got up, so there's a lot of talk about Afghanistan, and we talked about Afghanistan yesterday, and we're probably going to touch on that a little bit later on today. But one of the things that was bothering me as I was looking at this was asking the question, why is it that all of a sudden Haiti gets pushed to the back burner? So I went through, like, you know, so there's a series, so our listeners know my process about this, right? So I don't really watch TV news as much as I used to. I actually read a lot. So I have a series of sites that I go to pull up my news. NPR, I go to Huffington Post, I go to Politico, Philadelphia Inquirer, Philadelphia Tribune. I check all these things out every morning before we get on the show, and I'm kind of reading through and seeing what people are saying and the various perspectives on issues. And there's actually it was quite a few interesting perspectives on what President Biden said yesterday on Afghanistan. I have my own opinions about that. But one of the things that bothered me was that as I was looking through this news, all these different venues, or at least on their front pages, when I mean front pages on the website, like they usually list like the top 15 articles or so that they're writing about. There was only one article about Haiti. Suffered a 7.2 magnitude earthquake on Saturday, which is huge. It's a big earthquake, and we're a little tiny island, which has already been undergoing deep economic challenges with COVID, just challenges after challenges from previous earthquakes. And then this week they got hit with a deep tropical depression. As a matter of fact, they're expecting 5 inches of rain on top of all the destruction that came from the properties there. The infrastructure is falling apart. And I could find one article about Haiti. And I don't know about you, but that bothered me. That just really bothered me, that this little tiny black nation, for all intents and purposes, Haitians are Africans and a mix of Caribbean folk and Tano Indians and others that were in that region, but they definitively look, African in orientation. And it's struggling, really needs the exposure right now. It also needs more support from the United States. And here is one article about Haiti. And it really made me think for a moment how dismissive we are. Not to say that Afghanistan is important and it's thousands of miles away, but Haiti's, a part of the manifest destiny, right? It's like, it's like literally right off the shores of Florida, a few 100 miles off the shores of Florida. And it was like one article, lot of loss of life, a lot of deep destruction going on there. And the United States is not responding very quickly either. And so I was just hurt by the fact that, and it maybe just made me look at media very different for a moment, that, we're not covering this little black country that's suffering. And part of their suffering is the result of the United States.
Right. Yeah. I think since I've been a part of the Power family, I've learned not to trust the media as much, because their headlines will be misleading, and the ways in which they choose, topics and stories to write about is misleading, because it implies what's important. And if we're not careful, we'll get caught into that. Well, if the media is not covering it, then that's not really important. What's important is Afghanistan, or what's important is the Delta variant, and we lose sight of the sanctity of Black life. Again, Haiti's historically, I think, been on the bottom of the priority list for this country, and here's just another exhibit of what that looks like. And it's sad, and I read that article this morning and I was like, golly, can Haiti catch a break?
No, not at all.
Like, just I I don't I can't imagine an earthquake and then downpours on top of that that would indicate mudslides. I started to think about Elijah and the looking for God's voice to come in the earthquake. No, it's not coming in the earthquake. It's coming in, it won't come in the fire. And I don't have the text right, but I started thinking like that, like just certainly prayers for Haitians and Haitian Americans.
Yeah.
That are still very deeply connected to the country. You want something more to be done, but then you look at our country and what we're dealing with in Afghanistan and with the Delta variant and with just the surge and trying to get kids to go back to school and just the toll that it's taken on this country.
Yeah.
You just want to find if there's some piece of fortitude and strength that you want that to go toward the country of Haiti, and doesn't seem to happen.
Yeah, I mean, here's the challenge. Like, I'm looking at this, so I just wanted to pull up the map real quick, right? So, like, literally, Haiti is, I don't know, maybe an hour flight from Miami, if that long, right? The Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, Haiti, and the DR. So here's the thing that always gets me about this, too. And so while years ago there was a boycott of the Dominican Republic, even though everybody kept going to the Dominican Republic, we're supposed to be boycotting the Dominican Republic because the way they treat the Haitians. Now, the Dominican Republic shares the island with Haiti, right? And this is not a big landmass. Let me just be clear about this. Not a huge landmass. But we always hear about Haiti suffering, but we don't ever hear anything about what's going on in the DR. And so I'm always really curious about that. Like, what help are their co-islanders sharing and supporting in Haiti? And why are they not imagining a better way for them to be able to share resources and work together?
Yeah, because they are the same landmass, right? Am I thinking about the
it's
right?
The same
place?
island. It's one island. It's one island.
Right.
Yeah.
So like they're separated not by, I don't believe, a physical boundary.
It's a border.
So how does that happen? That's very interesting. It's like I'm gonna retract that. It was a very poor analogy, but it had something to do with ice cream flavors and how they don't mix. That there's just this line between dark and white. And not that Dominicans are, not that, folks from the Dominican are white, but just that there's this, okay place and this not okay place, and never the twain shall meet.
So this is actually interesting. I'm on Google Maps, right? So I could get a better, closer look, I just shrunk down the map a little bit. And what's interesting is that now that I shrunk the map down, Haiti, the name Haiti disappears, and all you see is Dominican Republic. You don't even see Haiti on the map anymore. The name Haiti's like gone. And I'm like, that's very interesting. So I mean, it's in some ways it's almost like black erasure for me, and that's what I'm wrestling with right now, right? This is sort of like, okay, black folk, you're now off the scene. We're gonna cover everything, and this is how oftentimes multiracial groups get pitted against each other, right? We're going to focus in on this particular group of people of color at the moment, or what I'm sure white folk will say minority. We're going to focus on this minority group now, and that minority group falls to the side. So we can talk about Afghanistan. We can't talk about Haiti. And in the midst of all that, we certainly can't talk about the struggle of Black Americans at the same time. And in many ways, these issues are all connected to one another.
I think that's one of the struggles that people have with the term BIPOC, right? We're all of a sudden all in this one giant pot of identity, and that doesn't serve any of us. It just helps them to be, better able to categorize and control us when it's beneficial for them.
Yeah, I don't even know if people out there know what BIPOC means. I just learned about BIPOC like a year ago. I was like, what? Somebody was like, BIPOC. And I'm like, what are BIPOCs? And then Black indigenous people of color. And I'm like, I never heard that term. That was new to me. And, and then everybody was like, BIPOC this and BIPOC that. And I'm like, okay, I am African American. okay, and I mean, to be cool in certain progressive circles, I was like, yes, and BIPOC, but it's like a lumping together. There's white folk, and then there's BIPOC, right? And so white folk are always here, and they get like this big space, and then they put the rest of us in this one little space, and then we get an acronym, to be able to define who we are. Because people are like, well, we don't like people of color. Okay, so we're going to be BIPOC, Black Indigenous People of Color. I'm like, can I just be African American? That's what I want.
Listen, I just want to be Black.
There you go.
I just want to be Black.
You want to be Black in America. It's nothing wrong with it.
That's it. I just want to be Black.
That's a struggle, though. Let me just do this because I'm running over again. We have a good conversation, and Kwasa's going to be like, yo. All right. We are up on our next break. So you're listening to Power Hour with Dwayne Royster, Tawanda Starworth. We'll be right back.
Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing sites at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. The second testing location has been added at Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School. Testing is on Wednesdays and Fridays. For testing hours and more information, visit jeffersonhealth.org/community testing.
Build skills needed for employment through the Philadelphia Skills Forward Initiative, a free upskilling program for workers displaced by the pandemic, those whose jobs are at risk for automation, and Black and brown workers. Complete courses focused on digital literacy, career management, and professional skills for a successful career. Get started today at chamberphl.com.
In Pennsylvania, it's now illegal to sell tobacco products, including cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, vapes, or electronic cigarettes to anyone under 21. Stores can get fined up to $1,000 for selling tobacco to someone who is underage. Know the law. Check IDs. Post your retailer license. Make sure only employees have access to tobacco products, and only sell tobacco products to customers aged 21 and older. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Morning, Mama. How you feeling?
Great, and I'm ready for you today.
I'm checking in on you. Morning meditation?
Check.
Dressed and ready to work out?
Check.
Check your blood pressure yet?
And check.
Boom! Great job, Mom. And about those gold earrings?
No, ma'am.
Now more than ever, it's important that we protect our hearts and the hearts of those we love. Monitor your blood pressure daily and help each other stay motivated. Rally your squad to take the online pledge at releasethepressure.org. Brought to you by the Release the Pressure Coalition and the Ad Council.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
This report sponsored by Staples Stores. Looking at Volley Building, southbound 95 this morning from Cotman down through Bridge heavy. Again, Betsy Ross through Girard busy there. Westbound Vine Expressway, 8th out through Broadigan Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. That is heavy now. The Schuylkill eastbound, that jams up from City Avenue through Montgomery. Disabled truck. The reason westbound slow. City out to Belmont again around the curve through Conshohocken. Looking at New Jersey 295 southbound, a jam ride from 73 down to Route 70. An accident there involving a vehicle fire against southbound 295. Pretty busy as a result of that accident. Again, the vehicle fire 55 North Deptford and the 42 getting busy as well. Staples Connect is amazing prices for everything on your back-to-school list right now. Crayola 12-count color pencils, 10 plus 2 Crayola marker bonus packet. Staples 2-pack scissors are just 97 cents each. Offer ends at 9/18. Limit 30 on Crayola. Limit 6 on scissors. Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Cloudy, warm, and muggy with a chance of showers and thunderstorms during the day today, a high of 83. Muggy tomorrow, mostly cloudy. A chance of a morning shower becoming more likely later in the day. Showers and thunderstorms could bring some heavy rainfall Wednesday night and into Thursday morning. 85 Thursday afternoon with mostly cloudy skies and still a chance of some showers. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with Tawanda Starworth. We are on WURD Radio, Progressive Black Talk Media. Hey, Judge McCabe posted this article from the Daily News about this language thing for Philadelphia. So if you happen to be on the Facebook, you can go and take a look at that. Actually, some of this, I think, is sort of more white accent than it is black accent. Black Philadelphia accent is very different than than the white accent in the city. And I went to high school up in the Northeast, and so I actually got the chance to spend time in Northeast Philadelphia for my 11th and 12th grade, and definitely a different accent up there than it is from the rest of the city. So it's very interesting. So anyway, going back, we were talking about Haiti, and there's a lot going on with Haiti right now. And just the pain of the fact that it was just dismissed so quickly. It's sort of like, oh, Haiti again, yeah, let's move on into another, let's talk about Afghanistan now. And the tragedy, and let me not diminish what's going on in Afghanistan. I mean, those images of the military planes taking off, people loading on, people falling from the planes. There was actually a body found in the wheel well of one of the planes, yesterday when it landed, which was really, really tragic. And for those that didn't understand why we started the show the way that we did today, part of it is just that the news is just heavy at the moment. It's just really heavy. Deep tragedy. President Biden was on the television yesterday explaining his position on Afghanistan. It's a 20-year war. We spent over $1 trillion. And honestly, there's a piece of this that I agree with him. If the folk are not willing to fight for themselves, why are we going to continue to invest in that? Hate me for it. I got you. It's understandable. But folk have to be from a legacy of folk that have had to fight for their liberation, who have had to fight for their freedom and continue to fight for their freedom. You have to have a hand in your own liberation, and you have to want it for yourself. Feel free to disagree with me on that. But I'm just like, I'm like, hey, that's a lot of money and a lot of lives that were lost in a war that was needless. And not necessarily Taliban was in charge of Afghanistan before September 11th, 2001. They were running the country. It was the Islamic State of Afghanistan. We went in and deposed the government as a result of, what happened on 9/11. And now, we had this 20-year basically mess going on over there. And so the Russians were there 20 years before and did not get anywhere, in this particular issue. And I know you have some perspectives on this that are, different.
Well, I think one of the things that the president said that seems to be like a line that they keep repeating is that the mission was never nation building. Mm-hmm. And I hear that, and I just put that someplace. But the whole position of needing to have a hand in your own liberation, I can get on that street, but it just gives me some bootstrap vibes. That people need to be able to pick themselves up by their bootstraps. And I think when I hear a statement like that, the next thing that I ask is, are we talking about people that don't have any shoes? And what role did we play? So it just makes me want to ask more questions, right? So what role did we play or did we not play in taking shoes from the Afghani people while we were there? I think the fact that we were there and these trillions and trillions of dollars, the fact that there's contracts involved, that there's just so many layers. I think Biden's coming from a place of this anti-colonization perspective, but not every soldier that was over there had that same perspective. So it just makes me want to ask more questions. And I don't want answers to my questions as much as I want people to be safe, as much as I want people to be free. I do think that it's complicated. In some conversation with my brother yesterday, if you caught the show yesterday, my brother's a retired lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Army and spent time in Afghanistan. And he indicated that there were problems, these conflicts are thousands and thousands of years old. And we can't impose our will on a country just because we think it's the right thing to do or we think it's the right way to be. That's problematic. That's problematic in our thinking. I'm disheartened by what I see, and knowing that, a lot of times it's complicated and that the media is not always going to, be able to portray the truth of the matter, right? They're coming from an angle. I saw a white CNN reporter, a white woman, questioning a Taliban officer about his religious beliefs, and I felt attacked in that moment. That can white people stop policing us in whatever? Just stop telling us what to do. Stop questioning us. If we need to figure it out for ourselves, let us be able to do that. But don't demonize us because we don't have shoes to be able to pull ourselves up for our bootstraps. So it's just this, I just get very protective of our brown skin and wanting better for us, and wanting white people to not police our wanting better for us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna push back a little bit on that, right? So we spent $1 trillion on the ground over there. We tried to rebuild infrastructure. We trained their military. We serviced and provided, weapons and planes and all kinds of resources that we poured in there, putting food resources, other things, tools into the country. I mean, the problem wasn't what we did over the last 20 years. The problem was that we shouldn't have went in there 20 years ago. We should have went after Al-Qaeda, and we should have stayed out of Afghanistan. We should have not gone after the Afghani government.
Sure.
I think, we were blaming the Taliban because they were hiding Al-Qaeda. Well, I mean, actually, it's very easy to hide in Afghanistan. There are all kinds of people that are in Afghanistan, right? I mean, we haven't talked about the Kurdish forces. There's the Taliban. There was traditional, eventually Afghani government. It's very complicated over there. Like you said, it's thousands of years of warring factions over there. Part of me is the problem with all this was that we decided that we were going to be the world's police persons again and try to set up a Western-style democracy in a country that is distinctly not Western, and not Christian, for that matter, as well. And so, when we go in there, and, I do agree. I think, part of it is like the evils of our colonial past, right? Look what we did to Africa. Look what the colonial powers did to Africa. That's Europe and, the United States, and the way that we've decimated that continent, right? And then, in this modern sense, we were doing this at the same time. And it's like, my question was, at what point are we actually able to leave that this wasn't going to happen?
Right.
No matter when we left, this was going to happen. This is why Obama couldn't get out, because he saw this happening, right? If Trump had been in office, he probably would have just let the whole thing fall apart and then been like, well, it's their fault. And everybody would have been like, yeah, it's their fault. Biden's trying to at least be like, look, the buck stops here. I made a decision. This is going to fall. I mean, we didn't think it was going to fall this fast. There's nothing we can do about it.
It's very pull the Band-Aid off, just rip it off. And I think Biden has a good point that he had to do this to keep the commitment that Trump made, not because he wants to, not having anything to do with Trump's legacy, but because of possible retaliation from the Taliban and needing to prevent a terrorist attack on U.S. soil. So I think that I can kind of buy into that, that we have to keep our commitments, no matter who makes them on behalf of the country. We have to keep those internationally, because our word is our bond. So we kind of have to do that sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be an ongoing conversation we're going to have, in the days and weeks ahead of us. And I'm sure that there's going to be, definitive, reviews and understanding about, people will write their PhDs about what happened in Afghanistan. And how it failed. I do not agree with the Republicans who are like, this is, Joe Biden's Saigon and the whole 9 yards. No, actually, their dude is the one that started all this mess,
right?
And forced the pullout the way that it happened this time around. So, if we want to blame anybody, it's blame Trump. And I mean, he's, sending out press releases and calling on Biden. I'm like, man, can you fall back? Can you?
No, he can't.
Can you fall back?
He can't.
Can you not, like, every other president, when a new president comes into office, they show some respect and they give space to the new president to do whatever. Can you just, Trump, you need to fall back. Donald Trump, if you're listening, one of your minions is out there listening, please get him the message. Fall back and get out of the way. Move, get out the way. Move, back, get out the way. So, okay, all right. So anyway, thank you very much. All right, everybody, we got to go. Actually, let me just say this. Nikki O'Tim is like, yeah, we need to blame Bush. You're right, because Bush is the one that sent us in Afghanistan in the first place. You were 100% right. And all those lives that are lost. Thank you for listening to us here on the Power Hour today. We appreciate you. Thank you, Tawanda, for guest host co-hosting today. Thank you, Kwesa, for everything you do. Everybody that listened to us at the various mediums that we are available. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. to bring you the latest news happenings around Philadelphia and, of course, our opinion. Stay tuned now for Wake Up with Word with Solomon Jones. And family, do us a favor. Go out. Change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.